welcome. Katie here. Thanks so much for joining me on the Imagine Crafts YouTube channel. Today we're going to be creating a patriotic themed card. We've got the 4th of July Independence Day coming up soon here in America, and I thought it'd be fun to show you a different way using very minimal supplies. The inks, I'm just going to use Ladybug and Paris Dusk Memento ink, and I'm going to use a little splatter to create my stars for my flag, and we're going to use some all-purpose ink in white. Now, there's two ways we can do this technique. The one that I'm going to do uses the diagonal stripe from Simon Says Stamp, but you really could just, the swiping techniques that I've shown you with sponges, which we're going to use some sponges today, or the blending brushes and things like that, could easily be achieved using those other techniques that I've shown you. I've got a stamp that I'm going to use. This is the Happy Birthday stamp, and this is from the Beautiful Flowers stamp set. I'm going to create a postage die cut. So I've already cut that out, but these are from Cat Scrappiness. It's actually the largest one, which I think I left that die downstairs. But if you have any postage, I've got ones from Ellen Hudson also. The sizing's just a little bit different for these two particular postage stamps, but I'll link up options in the description box below. Don't need these two, that's for something else. And then, of course, we're going to use a stamp positioner to do our stamping later on. So, today's really easy. So, we're going to start with, let me grab my stencil. Actually, I think I'm going to start with the blue. And again, this is just a kitchen sponge that I cut up, and I just use little chunks of it. They're pretty inexpensive. You can get them at the dollar store. These I just buy in a big pack at Walmart. So we don't need anything fancy here. You can use blending brushes if you want to, but you know, you can use whatever you have to be able to do our little swiping technique. So I inked up, and I'm just going to swipe it across. Now you could get real technical here and mask your little corner off for your blue portion of the flag, but I'm not going to do that. We're just going to eyeball it. And basically we just want to kind of color it in. Now I'm using 100 pound, I think it is, accent opaque, very similar to your Nina 110 pound cardstock. The difference with this cardstock is it has a little bit of a texture to it. And these were, I just cut them up because I was messing around with them, but these are the 100 pound, God, I'm going to call it the glimmer paper, but it's the hammer mill paper that everybody uses to do their hot foiling with. And you can see the difference in the texture. So how smooth that is. It doesn't have as much tooth in that paper. So I wanted to have a little texture, since I always test my ideas out on scraps and to see what we're going to get. And so that's why I was able to test it with some smooth. So, you know, use what you have. We don't need to have anything fancier, but I did find that this looked really nice on a more textured cardstock. But it still feels smooth. That's the thing. It's not till you put ink on it that you realize it's got a little bit of a tooth to it. Okay, so make sure everything's in view. Okay, now, as I mentioned at the beginning there, I'm using a diagonal stripe stencil, but if you have a straight line stencil, you can certainly use that. I don't have one. I actually don't have a straight lined stencil in my stash, so I'm going to make it look like it. Now, oh, I'm upside down here because I got adhesive on there. I do have a little bit of tack left from some old pixie spray that was on this. I do recommend something. It doesn't have to be a ton. You're going to see that here because it'll probably lift up a little bit as I wipe. Again, Ladybug Memento ink, but just because you don't want to have to try to hold this down. You know, there's all kinds of these photopolymer mats now and stuff like that. I'm too lazy to pull those out, even though I do have them. And again, we're going to do the same thing, and we're just going to kind of scrub back and forth to get that ink on there. And I love the distressed look using the sponges create. It's not a perfect blend. It also picks up that texture from our cardstock, which is really nice. All right, now this would be a great idea if you make, I'm going to be honest, I don't make 4th of July cards. But you know, these are great if you do, and if you make, you know, like invitations, you know, you have little barbecues and things like that for the 4th of July. This is a great way to do that. Also great for Veterans Day. This is a great option for that. Okay, and you can see I don't have anything on the corner there, but that's okay because we're gonna take this off and we're gonna add a little bit to it. To be honest with you, we could probably leave it alone, but I'm just gonna fill it in, soften our edges up a little bit. Get a little bit on the spots that wouldn't have any ink, and we're going to keep a little bit of that white there in the some of our sponge is flaking off. I've been using this with these colors a couple different times. Just add a little bit, could soften up some of that white in there. All right, let's get our lid on here, and I think I'm going to come back in with just a little bit more blue. Just there we go. Filling that space down there. Okay, let's grab something. Paper towel. Get some of this out of here. And this is just a cheapy. Well, I don't know if it's real cheap because Roland Langnickel's not a bad brand of paintbrush. But it may have come in like one of those kits, so it's just a number 8 round. We're gonna hit ourselves. That would never hurt anybody, right? Okay. I'm almost out of this stuff, but it's a great paint to be able to create some splatter with. White acrylic paint, use that. You don't need anything fancy to do this stuff. This white splatter with. It's probably too much water, but this paper towel and mop some of it up. Do want it a little watery. Something's dinging at me. Great way to add a little bit of stars. We're just going to keep going. Okay, if we get a little bit of smudge in there. And I'm just going to use the Paris Dusk to do my stamping with. Let me get our stamp out. Try and get it in between the lines a little bit. This is the die cut I'm going to use. I just used some red foil cardstock. This die is not available. This is going to say Happy Birthday Beautiful. And it is not available anymore. It was a collab years ago with Pink Fresh and scrapbook.com. I do have some double-sided adhesive on the back of it. Trying to be careful to lift it. It's very dainty. And that's done. Couldn't be a faster, easier card to make. You can throw that on. Grab our scoreboard. I thought I'd go with a little play on words with the Happy Birthday Beautiful. Double-sided tape, all right. And of course, you know what, if you got star stencils and that kind of stuff, you could switch those out for the splatter. And you'd be good to go. You're probably smearing it, but it's not quite dry, but it's okay. It'll add to the distressed look of it. There we go. Complete. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Be sure and check the description box below for all the products used. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic day and I'll catch you in the next video.